So there is a very important, very significant role for ground forces in the Pacific, but the predominance will likely be maritime or air forces.
Great. Thank you, General Milley. Senator Scott, you are recognized for your questions.
Thank you, Senator Peters. Thank each of you for being here. Thank you for your hard work. I know this is a very this is a tough time to serve. I mean, this is probably in my lifetime. This is one of the most difficult times to serve with all of our enemies. I share the concerns of the ranking member and many of my colleagues in the Senate that President Biden's budget request does not reflect our current defense needs. After many years of underspending, we recently began to grow the defense budget in line with the threats we face, particularly Communist China. Still, just last year, we had to increase the President's budget by more than $25 billion, and for months now, we've been urging the administration to increase our defense spending so that we can meet our modernization needs, deter and, if needed, defeat our enemies, and overcome the impact of the terrible inflation this administration has caused with reckless spending. So we're living in some of the most difficult times since the Cold War, with Communist China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea flexing their muscles, increasing their hostility to us and our allies. But you wouldn't know it based on this budget request. So to me, it's disappointing that the President didn't request a budget that would do a better job of putting us in a position that we can deter our enemies and make sure we take care of our service members and their needs. I was disappointed the administration wants to decommission 24 ships and weaken our Navy's power and capabilities. I know the administration has said this is enough. General Milley, I think you've previously stated that if you combine Communist China and Russia, that they spend more than the U.S. does now. Beijing just announced a 7.1% increase for 2022. And I think you just testified in the House that this budget assumes an inflation rate of 2.2%. But we all know it's 8% plus right now. All the manufacturers I talked to are saying it's actually more than that. So while inflation could go up and go down, I don't think the budget is clearly enough, and it doesn't seem to me that you think it's enough. So, Joe, how does this happen? You seem to be pretty persuasive. So how does this happen that we end up with a budget that it doesn't stay up with inflation and doesn't do a lot more to deter our enemies, especially Communist China?
Well, let me say a couple of things. First, on the inflation piece, I'd ask that Mr. McCord talk about the details of how they did the calculations, et cetera. But I fully support this budget. $773 billion is a lot of money, and it is our duty, those of us in uniform, to make every cent of those dollars count and to deliver for the nation a force that is capable of defending it. And I think, as I said in my opening statement, we can do that on 773. Having said that, there's always elements of risk, and there's always elements to mitigate. But we have to focus on the future. This budget does that. We have to focus on modernization. This budget does that. We put more money in research and development intentionally in this budget than has ever been done in any defense budget. And we have to focus on the pacing threat of China with the acute threat, as we call it, of Russia. Very significant. There are areas of risk. We recognize those areas of risk. But I do think that this budget will allow us to move forward and take the next steps towards protecting the United States.
Could I ask each of you, how comfortable are you that this budget is going to do enough to deter Communist China? And why do you think, what in the budget and what are the things that we're doing that you think are going to be the key things that are going to deter Communist China from trying to expand? First, I guess, would be into Taiwan. You want to start, General Austin? Our Secretary Austin.
Thanks, Senator. I think when we look at the challenge of China, we consider China to be a now and forever problem in terms of a challenge. And so we want to invest in those things that help keep us ready, capable, and dominant today, but also recognizing that the challenge of China will evolve over time, investing now in those capabilities that will be relevant down the road as well. So you've seen us invest in technology in this budget. You've seen us invest in space-based capabilities, cyberspace, undersea capabilities. All those things are focused on not only the China set, but it also provides us great capability with respect to the acute threat that we're experiencing right now, and that's Russia.
And Senator, I would just add with respect to deterring China and Taiwan, I think Senator Hawley hit it right on the head. The best defense of Taiwan is done by the Taiwanese. We can certainly help them, as is being done in Ukraine, for example. And I think there's a lot of lessons that are coming out of Ukraine that China has taken very, very seriously. Crossing the Taiwan Straits and conducting an amphibious and/or air assault onto the island of Taiwan and the city of Taipei with the millions upon millions of people in there, the mountainous terrain of Taiwan. Taiwan's a defensible island. We just need to help the Taiwanese to defend it a little bit better. And we can do that. But that is the best deterrent, is to make sure that, deterrent by denial, to make sure that the Chinese know that if they were to attack Taiwan, it's a very, very difficult objective to take.
Thank each of you. I know this is a very difficult time. I mean, in my lifetime, I don't think we've ever had a threat like we have now with what Putin's doing and what Xi says he's going to do. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Senator Scott. And the chairman is still voting, so I get to recognize myself. Serving is truly a selfless act, and I want to thank each of our witnesses for your service and commitment to our national security. That service comes with honor and strength, as well as pride and humility.